Journaling isn't just getting your feelings out. It can change what your brain does with stress. When you label emotions and turn chaos into words, research points to more prefrontal control and less amygdala noise. That's the shift from raw reaction to executive function. Your planning brain coming back online. And it's not just vibes. Studies on expressive writing show real outcomes like better working memory, and early work even linked it to better grades for students who wrote about negative experiences. Which brings us to the real question. What are journalers doing differently on a normal Tuesday that other people never learn? Before we move on, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel and like the video. Have you ever noticed that some people can think about a problem for hours and it just sits there, heavy and loud, and nothing changes? But you write for 10 minutes and something shifts. Not because you fixed it, because it stopped living only in your head. Think about a normal Tuesday meltdown. You're in bed, lights off, phone face down like you're trying to be a good person, and your brain is still on. It keeps replaying the same 3 lines from that text, that meeting, that look on someone's face. You run it again, then again. You tell yourself you're working it out. But it's not processing. It's rumination with better PR. Your mind is chewing the same bite of food and calling it dinner. Here's the weird part. When you keep it inside your head, it feels more urgent, not more true, more urgent. Psychologists call this cognitive load, and it's basically your working memory getting stuffed with unfinished thoughts. Working memory is the small mental space you use to hold things while you think. Like a sticky note on your forehead. When it's packed with what if, I should've, and what does that mean? You don't get smarter. You get stuck, and the stuck feeling starts to feel like danger. So you scroll, you check the clock, you rehearse a speech you'll never give. Your body is in a bed, but your brain is acting like it has a shift to work. Now you grab a notebook or a notes app, doesn't matter. You start writing, and you're not trying to sound wise. You just dump it. What happened? What you felt? What you keep thinking they meant? This is the trick most people never learn. When you journal, you externalize. Paper becomes a second brain. So your mind stops doing the job of both feeling the emotion and storing the whole mess at the same time. It wasn't being dramatic. It was your brain trying to hold too much in one place. In your head, it's like trying to untangle headphones in the dark. You can feel the knot, but you can't see it. On paper, it's the same knot, but now there's light. You can point to a loop and go, oh, that's where this started. And once it's outside you, something else happens. Your attention gets less jumpy. You stop treating every thought like it needs an answer right now. Because it's written down. It's not going to vanish if you don't keep gripping it. Research on affect labeling lines up with this. That's just the fancy term for naming what you feel. When you write, I'm angry, or I'm embarrassed, or I feel rejected, you're not just making a list of feelings. You're turning on more prefrontal cortex, the part that does planning and control. At the same time, the amygdala, your threat alarm, tends to calm down. So the emotional signal is still there, but it's not blasting at full volume. You can actually hear it in the way your sentences change. At first, it's all raw. They did this. I can't believe it. This is bad. Then you start slipping in words like because, therefore, so. Those are insight words. That's your brain building a story that makes sense instead of just replaying a moment that hurt. And this is why regular journalers can look calm in chaos. People assume they're just wired that way, like they were born with low drama settings. But here's the thing. It's not a trait. It's a system. They don't let the problem rent space in their head all day. They take it out. They put it somewhere. They look at it. And that creates distance. So why do regular journalers handle stress differently than people who only think things through? Because journaling creates a gap between you and the feeling. You're not trapped inside it. You're standing over it, looking down, and you've got options. But here is the thing. Distance alone isn't the magic. The real shift happens when your brain starts solving instead of bracing. Which brings us to what journaling does to executive function. There is something different about the way you plan after you write. Not more willpower, more access. Like a door in your head that was stuck, and now it opens without a fight. So you sit down with your journal and you don't even try to be deep. You draw 3 rough columns. What happened? What I felt? What I'm scared will happen next. You keep it plain. Boss said we need to talk. Felt my stomach drop. I'm afraid I'm getting fired. No big speeches, no perfect wording. Just the facts, the feeling, the fear. Most people see that kind of focus and assume you're just more stable, like you've got your life together, and that's why you can write clean lines. But stress can make anyone look messy. It hijacks attention. It shrinks your world down to one loud thought. And it does something else that's sneaky. It bends time. Tomorrow stops being a day. Tomorrow becomes a threat. Your brain treats the future like it's already happening, so you can't plan for it. You just brace for it. Psychologists call this executive function getting impaired. Executive function is your brain's manager. It's the part that helps you hold info, switch tasks, plan steps, and not blow up your whole day over one email. Under stress, that manager gets shoved out of the room. Working memory takes a hit. Planning gets sloppy. You forget simple stuff. You open your laptop, stare at the screen, and somehow you're on your 3rd snack with no plan and no progress. Which brings us to what journaling forces you to do. Sequencing. First this happened, then I felt this, then I did this. That's it. That's the move. It doesn't sound fancy, but it's executive function in plain clothes. You're organizing time, you're linking cause and effect. You're turning a blur into steps. And once you've got steps, you can change steps. You can say, when this happens, I spiral. You can spot the trigger. You can spot the moment you went quiet. You can spot the point where you started mind reading. Now your brain has handles, not just heat. Research shows journaling isn't some magic cure-all. Meta-analytic work in 2022 found the average mental health effect is small to moderate. Real, but not huge. And that's actually good news, because it means you don't need to believe in it. You just need to do it when it fits the problem. The bigger gains show up in certain groups. Anxiety disorders saw a stronger drop in symptoms than the overall average. PTSD also showed a clearer benefit. That lines up with what you feel in real life, right? If your mind gets stuck in worry loops or intrusive memories, writing is like giving that loop a track to run on that isn't your nervous system. Here's what makes this fascinating. Journaling works better when nobody is collecting it or judging it. The studies where journals weren't gathered or analyzed did better. That's almost funny, but it makes sense. The moment your brain thinks, someone might read this, you edit, you perform, you protect your image. And that kills the whole point. Privacy tells your mind it's safe to tell the truth, and the truth is the raw material your brain needs to sort the mess. You also see it in the body. Expressive writing has been linked in some studies with lower stress markers like cortisol. Not because your boss got nicer or your ex texted an apology. Because your threat system backed off when your brain stopped treating the thought like an emergency. Over time, regular journalers build an internal locus of control. That's just a fancy way to say, I can do something about this. Even if the something is small, name it, map it, pick one next step. So why does your prefrontal cortex come back online when you journal? Because writing turns emotion into a task your brain knows how to do. Label, sort, connect, decide. The moment it's structured, your planning brain has a handle again. Now let's land this. Because the invisible advantage isn't that you have fewer problems. It's that you refuse to store them in raw form. The invisible edge is simple. You don't just feel stress. You turn it into words, and words pull it into executive function, where you can sort it, plan it, and move. So next time that loop starts, do 1 page. No grammar, no show, just 3 beats. What happened, what it means, what you do next. Research shows a sweet spot is 15 to 20 minutes, 3 or 4 times a week, for 4 to 6 weeks. And if you're dealing with deep trauma, pair this with ProHelp.